Discover how Princess Kate's nervous energy may have sparked young Prince George's fascinating new hobby, a skill set that could shape a future king. Dive into royal insights, emotional nuance, and subtle lessons in leadership as we explore this heartwarming and compelling connection. Don't miss this royal revelation. Watch till the end. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Imagine Princess Kate, the picture of poise and grace, yet beneath that calm surface wrestling with an intense inner nervousness. Picture the cameras flashing, the crowds waiting, the pressure of expectation, and there, in the midst of royal duty, a subtle tension flickers. That nervous energy, whispered but unmistakable, forms the backdrop for a revelation about little Prince George. As Kate stands in public, poised but anxious, that nervousness echoes at home, unspoken, yet powerful. Suddenly, Prince George emerges with a remarkable new hobby, something very significant, not just to a child, but to a future monarch, learning to ride horses with discipline, confidence, and unwavering focus. Visualize George in a riding helmet, boots polished, posture straight, bridle in hand, eyes shining with concentration. This isn't just play. This is training in equestrian skill, an art intertwined with royal history and kingship traditions. And what triggers it? Kate's own nervousness, perhaps prompting a desire to instill steadiness, calm, composure in her young heir. As she struggles with anxious energy, she counterbalances it by guiding George toward a pursuit that demands presence, courage, responsibility. Riding a horse becomes more than a pastime, it becomes a lesson in leadership, balance, control, bravery under pressure. Imagine the day that Kate quietly encourages George, reminding him of royal ancestors who mastered horsemanship and carried those same values into their reigns. The nervousness she manages in public perhaps transforms into purposeful training at home. She shares coping strategies, breathing exercises, patience. And George responds. He mounts, he learns, he perseveres. Each trot, canter, jump becomes a metaphor for rising above anxiety, meeting responsibility head on. With each ride, his confidence grows, his focus sharpens, his posture straightens, not just in saddle, but in life. Now picture George at a stable, the early morning light glinting off the paddock rails, hooves stirring islands of dust, Kate watching from a distance. In that moment, take in the silent communication, her anxiety channeled into encouragement, into training him in a skill that will one day matter more than most. This hobby isn't frivolous. It's foundational, teaching George leadership through control, humility through connection with an animal, discipline through repetition and attention to detail. It's a very significant hobby because it's inseparable from tradition and the values of royalty, respect for heritage, command over self, empathy toward others. Envision George returning from a ride, flushed with exertion, elated with progress. Kate greets him with pride, not just for a ride well done, but for the internal growth it represents. Her own nervousness, once an invisible burden, becomes a catalyst for transformation. The nervous energy is not eradicated, it's redirected. It's like the bridle to a spirited horse, it guides latent power toward purposeful direction. As the royal family looks on, this dynamic between mother and son quietly shapes George's character. Behind palace doors, Kate's emotional wisdom, her willingness to face her own anxieties, illuminates a path for George to adopt poise under pressure, resilience in uncertainty, grace in responsibility. And all this begins with something as elemental as a horse, its gait teaching rhythm, its temperament teaching patience, its bond teaching empathy. Now, imagine the long-term effects. Prince George, seasoned in equestrian discipline, learns not only physical skill, but mental focus. He learns to steady himself when cameras glare, to inhale deeply when hearts pound, to sit tall when expectations swell. And all this because his mother once harnessed her nervousness into something constructive, something that could shape a king. Take a moment to reflect on this. How often do we see powerful results born from emotional struggle redirected with intention? Kate's example shows that nervousness isn't weakness, it can be a hidden wellspring if approached wisely. And George's routine with horses becomes the proof. Each ride is a rehearsal in calm under scrutiny, a rehearsal in leadership, a rehearsal in legacy. Throughout the years as George grows, that early hobby deepens into a tradition. He progresses from ponies to sleek full-grown steeds, from gentle trails to formal dressage. Behind every new mount, every polished bridle, every disciplined trot lies the imprint of his mother's earlier anxious moments, transformed into lessons. Now he fits the saddle with ease, commands the reins with quiet authority, and meets the world with balanced confidence. In the close-ups on royal documentaries, you sometimes glimpse George riding with matured poise, and analysts note that his composure mirrors his mother's practiced tranquility. Observers comment that his early horsemanship is a clear and intentional cultivation of a kingship skill, leadership through composure, empathy through connection with a powerful creature, discipline through repetitive training. This hobby, they say, is foundational, not leisure but preparation, shaped by a mother who learned to work with her nervous energy rather than suppress it. Picture a future scene. King George, on his coronation, wearing the regalia, but beneath it all, a confidence rooted in every ride he ever took, every anxious turning into purpose his mother turned for him. The skill that started as a calming routine blossoms into regal presence. In riding, he learned not only control of horse, but control of self. He learned that nervousness can be harnessed as fuel, not fallen burden. End this story with a flourish. By channeling her nervousness into young George's equestrian growth, Princess Kate may have gifted the future king not just a hobby, but a lifelong compass. His ability to lead, to steady, to inspire, born from a horse's gait and a mother's emotional redirection. Thanks for staying with this royal journey. If you enjoyed this insight into how nervousness and tradition intertwined to shape a future monarch, please subscribe, hit like, share with your friends, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on how emotional intelligence influences leadership in real life. What would you teach someone using your own experience of anxiety turned into strength? Now it's your turn. How do you channel your own nerves into something powerful?